The police reform bill got unveiled today. Before it was even unveiled yesterday, the media was already trying to get out in front of it, put their spin on it, and tell you guys it does not address systematic racism. So today's video, if you can't tell, we're getting into police reform. We're getting into the bill that was unveiled today, this morning. I'm Jared, this is RedRacer Video, former car vlogger. Now I'm an independent citizen journalist, independent sovereign journalist. I haven't looked up the definitions of both, so I'm not sure which I'm supposed to say yet, but I am now paid by you, the viewers. So thank you to everybody who is supporting the channel. You have made it to where I am comfortable not going to work, and I'm going to keep doing this. So thank you, everyone. There are 3 links down below in the description. If you yourself see value in what I'm doing and can help, please do so. If you can't, no big deal. Your views, your likes, comments, it all helps. But if you can help monetarily, thank you very much to everybody that's done that. Here we roll. Here we roll. Here we go. We're going to roll too. So getting back to the police reform bill, which today's video is about. It's very, very funny, and it's to be expected that the mainstream media is immediately attacking this bill and just saying that there's nothing in the bill verbatim that is saying anything that says we're going to correct systematic racism in police reporting or in police work. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that there's nothing in this bill that says we're going to make them stop abusing black people? Because there is no numerical evidence. There's nothing to show any proof that that is a thing outside of the media's coverage of it and what they say about it. That's the only thing. The only thing systematic about racism in our country is how the media reports it. That's what's systematic. Because if you go and look at actual numbers, you can't prove it. Officer-involved deaths and shootings, primarily white people, the vast majority of them. Blacks are the second most affected group of people, but it's actually more white people that get killed. And if you look at the amount of black people, the percentage of blacks that are killed by police, it's only like 4% of those were killed by white officers or something like that. I don't want to get my stats and get crucified, but what I'm saying is that almost every single numerical way you look at this, and we'll hit on this again later, it just can't be proven. Again, it's all media, it's all spin, it's all programming. It's just what they show you. Every time a black person's killed by an officer, especially a white one, they are all over that. It goes out in all the 4 a.m. talking points for all the mainstream media, and 90% of the news stations, including our local news, talk about it to program us. Getting back to the bill. It's obvious that the media's coverage of things, like I said, is heavily, heavily skewed. And they touched on this in this unveiling of the bill. They were very open, in my opinion, very transparent. There's nothing shady about what they did. And when they were asked about it later on, they head-on addressed all these things. But they echoed all my same sentiments. They even touched on Democrats sowing division and Democrats talking about all these things and acting like it's this big, huge problem in the media. But then when they have a problem or an opportunity to fix these things, like the 8 years that Obama was in office, they do nothing. They did nothing for police reform in those times. They did nothing to help Chicago, Obama's hometown. That place is an absolute nightmare. And it's sad. It's tragic. What did they do for them when they had the ability? They did nothing. This should not be a bill on how to improve how the police treat black people. And I'm very proud of this bill to this point so far for not being that. It should and is a bill about how police should treat everyone and how ways to improve how they treat everyone. Having said that, this is not a vastly, I don't know what I lost the word I was going for there. This is not a huge problem. This is not everywhere. It's not national. It's not in every police department. Yes, there are bad officers. Yes, there are bad precincts. I'm sure of it. Like anything else in the world. There are bad dealerships. There are bad financing institutions. There are bad real estate. There's bad everything. Bad whites, bad Mexicans, bad blacks, bad Chinese people. Like it's just part of life. We're not going to get everything perfect. That whole PC dream it doesn't work. I've got some notes here that kind of break down what the bill actually does, okay? All of what I said was context. I want you to understand where I feel and where I'm at and how you guys understand before I break into what we get into here. So, hope that worked. Big changes are coming in how data is collected. It seemed like what they talked about, the minutia, or not the minutia, but the meat and potatoes of the bill actually was. They're going to have big changes in instances of challenge, meaning what they ended up talking about is basically when someone gets hurt badly, like not they fall down and get scratched because they got arrested, but when somebody suffers serious bodily injury or death, those cases are going to, every time from the sound of it, go to the FBI. There will now be a national database when any of these things happen. If you guys have been following along, that's been one of the arguments of many people, is that there is no national registry. An officer can be a huge problem in like New York, for say. And that officer could leave and go be an officer somewhere else. And they basically get a clean slate in a lot of cases because these things are being kept on a state database to this point. And some of those states are doing a really, really lousy job of that. So some of the argument about police needing reform is absolutely legit. If you guys have watched my previous videos, I'm not saying police are perfect and that I just haven't. I've never said that. This is where I feel like they are actually going for real, plausible change. You can't get police reform by saying, police treat black people bad. Okay, what's the fix for that? They just need to stop treating black people bad. Okay, well, what's the actual fix? Like, give me something tangible that we can change. Well, they just are racists. It's always just the headline, the emotion. They've done a very good job in this bill, in my opinion, of going after tangible things that can actually fix and do things, okay? That being one of those things. The database is a big deal. Why have we not already had this? An officer kills somebody over here, or an officer gets multiple complaints of excessive use of force or problems with use of their weapon or discharging a weapon, and then they go to another state. I'm with you. That's not okay. This addresses that. Right now, I think they said 40% of those cases get reported. It's going to be 100. That's a big deal. He went on to say this is so they can dissect each instance to see how to de-escalate them in the future. That's smart. You've got to look at these things and actually find out, okay, it's not just a white cop black dude or a black cop black dude. Those are things that are just what they are. What actually happened in this scenario? What happened leading up to this scenario? And we're going to break down some more stuff getting in a little bit here in a minute, so hang in there. But this bill, in my opinion, is very, very well thought out, and there's still things that are going to change. But this is already very, very good. To me, it makes sense. They're basically wanting to 2.5 times, essentially, the amount of data they have now. It's like anything else. People dissect data in everything. I look at my YouTube analytics all day long sometimes as I'm going through stuff to pay attention to what people are saying, what they're doing, whether a video's working, if the next video I'm going to make. I mean, I'm constantly morphing each one of these videos. Why would it not make sense to double your body of work for the police? And that's what they're going to do with this database. It truly is very, very wise. One of the things that everybody's hitting on with this stuff is chokeholds, no-knock warrants. No-knock warrants makes it sound bad. It makes it sound like cops are just going kicking people's doors in all the time. That's not what's happening, okay? But there's probably some validity to some of the cases. This, again, goes back to, okay, what happened in the scenario? On this no-knock warrant, what happened? Guess what? There's no database. They're not keeping track of anything on no-knock warrants. They have almost zero data to go on to say we can change or eliminate no-knock warrants. So good on them. They did not just get rid of no-knock warrants in this. And that's smart. They need more data. But now they're going to keep track of every one of these no-knock warrants. And if there starts to be a pattern where they see problems, they can change things. And they're looking at it deep too. They're not just looking at it as like, oh man, what happened in these 5 minutes? Their approach seems super logical. They're going way before that. Was the right officer on the scene for this warrant? What kind of customer, I don't want to call them perps because it sounds disrespectful, but my vocabulary is not big enough, so I'm calling them perps. What kind of perp was behind the door? Who were we going after? What was on the warrant? Okay, now, do we have the right people going? Or are we just sending every random officer we can send? There's a lot of stuff I think that could happen that would very much change these things. They are doing those things. They are doing wise things. They may not have the right verbiage in there that appeases the media, but these things are honestly awesome. And the more I listen to this, I'm just like, yeah, okay, yeah, they're doing stuff. The media and all these people and all the Democrats, they just want to bark. They just want to bitch and moan and complain. But this is action. This is what actually gets stuff done. Burning down buildings, beating up people doesn't get stuff done. going and doing this kind of stuff, even though it doesn't sound like the stuff you want to hear right now, it's not the immediate fix. This is tangible, fixable, provable things, right? I personally think it's madness to get rid of no-knock warrants before I move on to the next thing, and we're getting close to being done here because I'm keeping these videos much shorter, one commercial in the middle. In the comments, let me know what you guys think about shorter videos, one subject, one commercial. I think it's madness to get rid of no-knock warrants. You can't announce yourself to some of these people. Some of these dudes are scum. I know you all out there want to think that it's just a guy that got a bad charge. No. It's like crazy people on drugs, high on whatever, that have nothing to lose, and a lot of times we know they're dangerous. So stop protecting criminals. You're not knocking on some of these dudes' doors. I think I've beat the whole database thing to a pulp. I think I got all that. I hope you guys understood where that went, okay? Another thing I want to hit on really quickly, and then we're going to move on to the questioning side of stuff and something that Lindsey Graham said before we wrap it up. They are adding funding and resources to police. They are not defunding and they are not disbanding. So the media, everybody's calling for it. Don't worry. Will there be some states that try to do some wild stuff, make some dudes stand down and so that everybody goes crazy for a minute? Sure. But everybody's watching that happen, and everybody's going to see that that doesn't work, and everybody's hanging on to their guns tighter than ever. So I know it seems chaotic. This is all playing out the way I want it to. Calm. I'm calm. Lindsey Graham, in typical Lindsey Graham fashion, came out swinging when he got his opportunity to talk. He was looking right in Democratic senators' eyes when he said it, like he was going hard on them, as he always does. Lindsey's big bark, not a lot of bite, in my opinion. Hopefully, one of these days, he surprises all of us and he shows us he was just a sleeper or something, but maybe not. Lindsey said, the Democrats had 8 years to get things done about police reform, and they did nothing about the things that they are arguing have to be done right now. And he also said, I'm tired of being lectured by my Democratic colleagues about all this being Donald Trump's fault when all these people did nothing in the 8 years that Obama was in office. Nothing for police reform, nothing to help black people in the inner cities of Chicago and all these other places that are decimated. And there is black on black crime by the hundreds on a daily basis. It's insane. It's craziness. It's tragic. Where's Black Lives Matter on all that stuff? Okay? Lindsey Graham, again, big talk, said amazing stuff. Lindsey, please actually do something one day. Please. Press questions afterwards and then we're done, guys. Naturally, the first question, not the first question, but in the verbiage or in the questioning, it did come up again. We didn't see any verbiage in the bill about systematic racism. Shocker. It's because there isn't any and there doesn't deserve to be any. But again, they did bring it up. They're not going to let this go. They're not. They're going to say this bill doesn't do anything for racism. They're trying to keep black people hating police and vice versa. And they're trying to keep everyone else hating police and all the young kids that think Antifa and Black Lives Matter are actual movements that do anything besides sow absolute division, and that they're an army of an insurrection in our country and we are at war. Tangents, I know, but here we go. If the Democrats don't get on board with this bill and work with people and try to change it, and if they don't even just sign on with what's already there and then try to make improvements going forward, it's just another nail in their coffin showing that they're all talk and they don't actually want to do anything for black people. They have been black people's problem for a long time. And they're showing us more and more by the day. And people like me and there's a lot of us bringing this to the forefront right now. And so I hope more people by the day are catching on. And I think they are. I really do. This is all, again, simply a plan to divide our country. And they want war. This is war. We are already at war. We have been for a long time. qmap.pub in the description, or just keep following me. Some videos are more QE than others. But this is a plan. They are at war. This is an insurrection. Black Lives Matter and Antifa are not anything like the media is trying to make them out to be. They are quite literally the army of the other forces. So I hope everybody understands how serious things are. I don't say any of that to end this video on a cliffhanger. I'm confident with what's happening. People are being shown. It's not until they are on the brink of absolute destruction that people will have the will to make change. And this is where we're at. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Keep watching. I'm going to, again, make sure your notifications are on. Hit the bell. Make sure all is on. I've got multiple smaller videos coming all the time now. There could be 3 or 4 videos some days. Who knows? I might surprise you. I love you. RedRacer video. Again, if you saw value down below, help me out. Love you guys. See you on the next one.